Today I will be discussing the famous Byzantine and Ottoman empires through their artworks and the lives of their women. Now, going on to the visual artworks of the Byzantine Empire, they were almost always mosaics featuring good Christian characters such as Christ Pantocrator here, pure images for the public in churches and palaces and such. But there were also some pagan images along with it, such as this evil and malicious character. And this reveals a great deal of what the Byzantines thought in terms of religion. However, the literal world of Byzantines was much less fascinating, seeing as they had no real great feat of literature themselves. In fact, the only great thing that survives today, what they really did, was they conserved a lot of ancient Greek texts, such as the three seen here. 1, 2, 3. I know you can't really see them, but they're there. Now, this is a great help to historians and us for the understanding of the Greeks, but the Byzantines are mostly forgotten in the ways of we don't really remember any of their books anymore, such as the forgotten Architron and Drusilla and Charicles. However, we do remember works such as the Divine Comedy, although it doesn't exist much in the world of Byzantine literature. It's mostly Italian at that point. It's at the end of Byzantine Empire. And even their artists suffered this forgetfulness, such as these 4 famous novels of the Byzantine Empire. They're thought as some of the most famous Byzantine novels. None of the names are really around today. It's just Theodore Prodromos, author of Agapetus. He is completely forgotten today, and I can't find any single image of him. The artist, and it shows that the artists weren't really famous then either, since none of their images were displayed. It was usually politicians and Christ figures, as I've shown before. Now, it's not that art was a background aspect of life in the Byzantine times, seeing as art scandals were pretty big scandals in the political world at that time, such as when Emperor Leo III, seen here, began the iconoclasm by banning religious images in art, causing an uproar in the Byzantine art world. So they did, back then, find art to be very important. Now, going from leaders of art, the Ottoman rulers, the sultans, such as here, Great Suleiman the Magnificent, were much better at leading the art world to their places. See, the Ottomans focused mainly with visuals on displays, ornate and intricate displays and pottery and plates and things, as well as visual paintings and such as portraits, which were quite characteristic. Now, these were really great, and they still survive today as great works of art. And the most interesting thing about them is that they focused on the wills, beginning with the first sultan, on the works of art, focusing on the wills of the sultan. Basically, the political ruler ruled art as well, because most sultans were great artists themselves. And see, the literature, much better than the Byzantines, were written in these divan. They basically wrote poetry. And I'm not saying basically as in the poetry was basic. They're amazing poems about amazing things such as war, life, love, and other things about their society. Much more diverse than the Byzantines. Now, concluding for the art, it seems that while Byzantines weren't exactly against art, Ottomans were much more active in the art world, seeing as they explored much more topics and had much more diversity, seeing as actually merchants all the way up to the Sultan himself could be artists and were usually artists, meaning they had a variety of options in different classes to explore. Basically, the Ottomans changed the way that the Byzantine societies viewed on art and the perspectives, how art was. In my opinion, they made it much more proactive and a great thing in society. Now, going on to the lives of women, this is a Byzantine woman here in